So today we're looking at the new iPhone 15 Pro Max. There's a lot of hype about it, and there's actually quite a bit of reality. So today on TF Plugged In, we're going to figure out what's actually hype about the new iPhone and what's truly reality. So first, well, to brag a bit, I'm actually a titanium metallurgist. Believe it or not, it's a thing. I have backgrounds in other types of metallurgy too, but I spent 5 years working in titanium. So you see the video from advertisement from Apple with this meteor coming out of space from the edge of galaxy, and it just crashes into the earth, and boom, the iPhone is born. Yeah, here's the problem. Titanium's not rare. Like, if you brushed your teeth this morning, the toothpaste you use, full of titanium. The paint on the wall, white paint, full of titanium dioxide. It's not a rare element at all. It's not coming from outer space, guys. Maybe eventually, you know, it took a ride with some aluminum and some iron and maybe some nickel, but titanium's not really rare. So I think the 9th most common thing on Earth. So, yeah, it's still titanium, right? And titanium is pretty cool, coming from a titanium metallurgist. But do you need it for the case of your phone? Previous phones were aluminum, or as my British counterparts would say, aluminium. Funny story on why there's a difference. But anyhow, titanium's more heavier than aluminum. Fact. You know, it's a fact. If you want to verify it, look at a periodic table. It just is. So you can make titanium thinner than aluminum for a set amount of strength. So you can actually have a thinner gauge of titanium, since it is stronger than aluminum. That's a true fact. You can roll it thinner, and therefore you can reduce weight that way. However, it's usually about the amount that you reduce the thickness. The increased weight of titanium usually kind of offsets it. So there might be a difference in weight, but it's pretty minimal. From a case standpoint, like grams, like 20 grams or something, you're not even like the weight of a penny. So it's not that big of a deal. So that's titanium. That's a myth, man. It just isn't. I love it. I really do. Does it need to be in your iPhone? I guess. I mean, it is more chemical resistant. You can have these cool anodized finishes. So that's kind of neat, but it's not like, you know, extraterrestrial or anything. So that is a myth. Next one, the camera. Is it really worth it? This one is a reality. So look, a couple pictures I've shown here. The quality is pretty fantastic, almost to the point where, excuse me for a second, it's kind of depressing how good it is. Really, it's depressing that this camera is so good. And why is it? Because I love point and shoot cameras. You know, I've done a video on my Fuji X100V, and it's a fantastic camera. I love this camera, right? And the fact that this new iPhone is getting to the point where it's almost as good, oh man, that makes it tough. So anyhow, it is great. It has a great camera. The low light performance on it still isn't perfect. You know, if you're going to take pictures indoors, you know, your regular high-end point-and-shoot camera will beat it. I say that, again, it has to be kind of a high-end point-and-shoot camera. You know, if you have a point-and-shoot camera from 2008, 2010, from a trip you took, right, and you're still pulling out family reunions, you can get rid of it, man. Your phone's better. Your iPhone 15 Pro Max is better, without a doubt. At this point, you almost have to start getting into professional cameras to beat it, right? So, hats off to Apple. I take my hat off, but my hair's all messy, so I'm not gonna do that. So the camera quality is fantastic. Variety of lenses. They have a kind of a cool little trick to get some telephoto, some magnification on it. I like that. I love the detail. Another cool thing is that when you take a picture, you can actually, it'll tell you what's in the picture. So I took a picture of our dog Waggles. It says Shih Tzu. Blew my mind. I guess this has been around since iOS 15. Blew my mind. Didn't have a clue. Took a picture of some rosemary. It said rosemary. Like, what is this thing, right? I mean, I couldn't even dream of something like that happening in the 80s. But anyhow, the camera is definitely reality. Heat generated. On this one, I'm just going to say, I guess. I mean, it definitely gets hotter than what I experienced with my iPhone 14 Pro Max. I get tongue-tied here. So it does get a little hotter. If you're playing some hardcore gaming, it might really actually be an issue. But I don't really play a lot of hardcore gaming, so it's not really been a problem for me. So I'm just going to say, I guess, maybe, yeah, so yeah, I guess it's a little hotter. But it's not been a problem. USB-C. Honestly, this is one of my complaints with Apple has been non-standardized inputs and outputs and things. I don't like the fact that they removed your headphone jack plug. I prefer that just so that they can sell Bluetooth headphones and AirPods and stuff. That's always been a kind of a rub with me on Apple products. The Lightning charging cable, it worked okay, I guess. The problem with it is you got to carry an extra cable. It's a pain in the butt, right? So every time you want to pack up for travel, you got to grab your USB-Cs, you got to grab your micro USBs, and your mini USB-Cs maybe, or micro, mini. Mini's the newer version. So maybe not the micros, but the minis. And then you have to, if you have any other charging devices that you need that's non-standard, you have to bring all these plugs. So you end up with like this big thing of wires that you're trying to get through the airport and convince people you're not trying to do bad things. But now USB-C, so hey, my iPhone, I can charge with USB-C. My iPad, USB-C. My Fuji X100V, guess what? It'll charge with USB-C. So the standardization of charging cables, to me, I think is really just a great thing. I mean, I'm happy it happened, right? We all talk about government regulations and how they're bad, but the fact that somebody stepped in and said, hey, let's just try to get rid of all the wires. To me, hey, that's a good outcome. So that's a reality. Next up, overall performance. Well, I got an iPhone 15 Pro Max, not because I'm a tech nerd, which I am, but it's because my iPhone 14 Pro Max actually didn't work real well. I had issues with it dropping Bluetooth, with it dropping calls. So there was some kind of little glitch within the little phone, and it just didn't like to work. So out with it went, and I got the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I can definitely say it's from the testing I've done so far, it is an upgrade. So it's a reality. So the performance is a reality. Especially the camera, man. I can't emphasize that enough. It's so much. It has buried most point and shoot cameras at this point. It's a definite improvement. The size of the overall of the phone is almost identical. I need to check and see if my old case will work on the new phone. It actually feels a little bit heavier. I don't know what the specs say, but it feels heavier to me. So there are some similarities to the older phone, but it does seem to be noticeably quicker. I've not had any freezes on it, so that's the reality. The next thing on it, we're going to jump back up to the camera portion because I should have organized this video a little bit better. File sizes. So that's a problem with Apple, and it's another one of my rubs against Apple is that they overcharge for memory. And by going to larger photos, like 48 MP on the sensor, you're generating larger files. I think I saw where 65% bigger picture files. Honestly, most of the time, you don't need that. You can go with a smaller file size, and unless you're actually doing something that you plan on cropping at a later point, so if you're taking a beautiful landscape or you got that perfect picture of your kid, then you might want it, in the highest resolution you can get, which is the largest file. But for most stuff, you really just don't need it because it's just going to fill up your memory quicker. I got the 520 meg. I kind of wish I had the 1 terabyte, but it's a $200 price increase. I can buy 512 megs of memory for 80 bucks all day, every day. So I don't know why it's so expensive. It really is kind of a gouge for Apple to charge these $200 increments to go up. I understand it's capitalism, but man, I just wish that they would either make it expandable or the phones would just come with enough memory. So that's my point on it. You can get around the memory issue by cutting down your file sizes on the resolution of your photos, but hey, that's maybe not as much fun. You can't zoom in quite as much, and get all that detail. So my overall verdict on it is the iPhone 15 Pro Max a upgrade over the iPhone 14 Pro Max? That's a reality. I really do think so. I don't think it's the case for most iterations of the iPhone, but this one, just because of the camera, man, it's just going to be tough to beat. So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear your feedback. Argue with me about titanium if you want to. That's always fun, metallurgy debates, if you're a real nerd. I'd love to hear it. And if you actually want to hear any other little metallurgy, sidebars, that'd make my day. Anyhow, take care and have a great day.